In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. Everything depends. Everything depends on a red wheelbarrow in the rain. This is a poem by William Carlos Williams. He looked out. He looked out the window of a children's hospital. Window at night, and there was just enough light emitted from the building so that he could see a playground for children and a small red wheelbarrow. And he said, everything depends on this. Because what he was talking about was these very, very sick children. I don't know if you've ever been to the City of Hope, but when I went there for the first time, the people looked like space aliens. None had any hair anywhere. No eyebrows. Their bodies were swollen because of fluid retention from the chemotherapy. And everything is hope. Everything. You don't add to it, and you cannot take away from it. Everything is hope. Now the story of the Lord's resurrection is the same. We didn't see it. We are born out of that time and out of that generation. But everything depends upon the Lord's resurrection. Everything. Everything. If there is doubt about that, there is nothing whatsoever. Nothing whatsoever. The Lord came into the holy room, and I call it holy because its purpose was to gather those who would be responsible for the creation of this new manner of worship, building churches as they went throughout the world. And of course it's notable that the one that we call the doubter went to the uttermost ends. If you take a look at Palestine and you look at the distance he had to go to reach India, but the Lord said to them plainly, I am real. You do not any longer have to believe. You don't have to believe when something is manifest. You know, I don't believe I'm going to eat an ice cream. If the ice cream is there, I know I'm going to eat it. The Lord, when he went into this holy room, he said, peace be to you. And I want to say something about this because it has such tremendous pastoral implications. I deal with men and women all the time who are fighting. At first they were fighting to be together. Now they're fighting because they are together. There are 1,000,000 reasons to divorce your spouse. 1,000,000 reasons. Good reasons. Human beings are, for the most part, pretty ugly creatures. My dog is more noble than my wife or myself. There's only one reason to stay together, and that's because of the vow that you made to the Lord. You see, and everything then depends upon that red wheelbarrow in the rain, in the playground. If you believe in the resurrection of the Lord, moreover, if you are certain of the resurrection of the Lord, you can't go back on your vows. David said, I will pay my vows in the presence of all people. In Psalm 115. I will pay my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people. It doesn't matter if you get to the goal line in a skirmish. It only matters that you get to the goal line, that you complete your vow. Now, it's better if you arrive without a skirmish. It's better that you do not argue. It's better to live an exemplary life. But there is no reason whatsoever to break a vow. Everything else then is suspect in your life. How can you say you believe that Jesus is real? That his resurrection is not a fable? How can you say any of these words without scorners and scoffing be surrounding every such confession? No one will believe, because you haven't been able to do the least thing. You've not been able to even last with one person whom you vowed to be with. So then, where is the vow? He goes, well, you know, God is God, I'm human, I'm frail, I'm weak. I can even murder and he'll accept me. Look at Demas, the thief on the right side of the Lord Jesus Christ. He forgave him all these things. Won't he forgive the broken vow? Well, perhaps he will. I'm not God. I don't know whether his mercy will allow such an impotence with his righteousness, with his sense of rectitude, his morality. But I tell you that when people are certain of the resurrection, they can do profound things. When you marry somebody in your 20s or your 30s, you do not know what they will become in their 60s. You don't know what they will be like. You may grow with them, you may grow apart from them, but still there is that vow. There still is that vow that remains. Will I be loyal and faithful to at least one, forgive me for using this word, one entity? One entity. Can I be counted as anything respectable if I cannot obey that one vow to that one entity? You know, when the Lord said, peace be unto you, he did not say that your life was going to be easy. Every one of the disciples, save John, met a horrifying death. So how? How then do we comport ourselves in the face of such witness as the disciples? Well, each of us has to go in turn and ask these spiritual questions. A lot of what passes for knowledge isn't knowledge. Knowledge today is a kind of prideful mechanism whereby one group of people get together and they wag their finger at another group saying, we know this and you do not. And of course missing the intent of the rule itself, they push forward into alienation, personal ambition, and aggression. If one would talk of God, one should do it with great fear and humility, and beg in prayer to get things right. The Lord allowed himself to be handled, to have another indignity even after his resurrection. And he did it for the sake of the love that he had for his children. I've talked about it many times, and you know how much my grandson means to me. And he can virtually do anything, and I'll forgive him. That's what the Lord did. He disrobed. Do you imagine the Lord disrobing? Here, put your hand in my side. Right in here, where the centurion confessed. Look at my hands. Feel them. Feel them. Look at the imprint. Someone of the fathers said that he had written all of the names of his children in the palms of his hands by virtue of being nailed to the cross. Everyone who is here has their name written in the piercing. What is peace anyway but the certainty, the absolute certainty that in the end all will be exactly as the Master has promised. That's the thing that takes away fear. That's the thing that causes one to maintain a kind of aloofness to this world. We are in the world, yet we are not of the world. It's the kind of thing that allows a person to suffer, to be hurt, and to feel no compassion in this life for that suffering or for that hurt, because it's born through the knowledge that what the Lord said is true. Everything depends upon a red wheelbarrow in the rain. Everything depends on it. Everything depends on the resurrected Lord. If there is no resurrection, then we are all not complete fools, but fools nonetheless. Because there is good moral instruction here, even if you are a non-believer. Even if metaphysics or the supernatural, the sense of the exalted is something that we can't grasp. But don't be cynical. If you don't believe, pray as the man who asked for the healing, when he said, Lord, I believe, help thou my unbelief. Let the Lord fulfill everything in you through your prayers. But do not turn as though your presumptive knowledge were truth. The Lord said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Glory be to his holy name, both now and ever, and to the age appointed.